Howdy, howdy, howdy. Hope y'all are all doing well. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. I love the Cliff Notes Live that take place during the Big Brother season. This is the first one. Big Brother started up. We're going to be talking a lot of Big Brother, right? This day in history, I don't know. It's a special day. I don't know. It's all about Big Brother tonight. I've had so much fun watching. Before I get into it, a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV fans, especially love Big Brother, and especially love you guys that are out here watching, either watching live or watching on a replay. I try to make sure that I give shout outs to both of y'all, both groups. I certainly appreciate having y'all out here. Now, talking about watching my videos and all that, for those of you who have subscribed to my channel and turned on notifications, you've been getting my morning updates every day. I've been doing the overnight feeds of what happened during the evening hours inside the house. You've been getting them. If you aren't subscribed to my channel, if you haven't turned on the notifications, you may or may not know when I drop the episode. So please consider subscribing, signing up, turning on notifications. Throw up one of those little thumbs up while you're at it. I always appreciate that. I gotta say, guys, it was an interesting week. Before we get into Big Brother, and we'll certainly do that, but it was an interesting week because for those of you who don't know, I am down in Cancun, Mexico this week. I'm heading back tomorrow, so I'm ready to get home so I can sit on my couch and watch some more Big Brother. But I actually was on an airplane during the live move-in episode. I watched as much as I could on my phone. Once I got to my destination, I watched the rest of it. I was a little bit worried about my ability to watch the live feeds, but I had a VPN installed. Paramount Plus, I was able to make it all work. So sitting on the beach, enjoying the breeze, the waves, and little live feeds on my phone as well. So I've been able to watch it all, stay caught up. So happy. This is a fun season so far. All right, before we talk about Big Brother, just a real quick shout out because I see a lot of y'all are out there. Newbie, or it could be Nubby. I'm going to go with Newbie. Hey, welcome aboard. Glad to see you out there. Abby Love 12 as well. Welcome, Abby. Mark Taylor, Patty Bell, Joe Blow. Hey, Joe, welcome aboard. All these questions. I'll come back to the questions here in a second as much as I can. Marilyn Sutherland, Michelle Moore, Kennedy Franken. Hey, how's the job going, Kennedy? Mary Tedeschi, Vicky Stone. Let's see. Jake the Horror Movie Geek. JD Glad, Brian Hostetler, Logan Hamrick. Oh, man, all you guys out here. That's always so much fun to see. Terry Thomas, Angie Hung out there. Hey, Angie. I hope you're able to watch it all from up in Canada. Ma as well. Ma, how's the school started up yet? I hope you're doing well. Gabby Meshed. Michelle, I think I mentioned your name, but just in case not. And let's see. We're going to call it there. Let me see if I got it. Daniel Day Jesus. How are you doing, Daniel? Ultra, Aurora. Let's see, Debbie Nall as well. Carpola, Wyatt Garrett. God, all you guys, Cross Track 6. Hey, Cross Track. Markeitha Nard. I love to look at some of these login names as well. Claudia Biso, and Jesse Gilmore. I think that's Detroit Red and Jolene. Guys, I wouldn't want to forget either one of you. Welcome to all you. And TV fan as well. Thank you, TV fan also. One final mention, and I wanted to do. Karen Ventura last week had done a super shout out. I didn't even know what those things were. YouTube turned it on for me, but I want to say howdy to Karen. Karen, if you're out here watching, thank you. If not, send me questions. All of you. We're going to talk Big Brother tonight, but also during the week, feel free to send me questions on DM, Instagram. Send me DMs on Instagram or Twitter. Because I'm full enveloped in Big Brother at this point in time. All right, with all of that being said, let's talk a little Big Brother, a lot of Big Brother. Y'all hit me with your questions. If there are other stuff you want to talk about, holler, but we're going to talk Big Brother. One final note before I go into it. If you aren't caught up on Big Brother, be warned that there could be some spoilers on here. Now, the episode that was on last night more or less brought us up to speed. They didn't show the results of the veto competition or what happened to the veto ceremony today. I'm sure we'll talk about that. So if you don't want spoilers, plug your ears, watch it after another day or two, next episode. But we are going to be talking about that. I just wanted to make sure that I don't ruin anyone's day by saying what they don't want to hear. All right, with that being said, a few different questions. Brian Hostetler, BB is starting off great this year. I love it. I love it. I love it. And Aurora is saying so much has happened and it hadn't even been a week. Right? I mean, it feels like we've been watching this for, I don't know, a couple of weeks or so. It reminds me of a couple of seasons back when Frenchie won HOH. And that first week was so hectic. So many alliances, so much going on. The difference is Frenchie, and not all of it was his own fault. There were a lot of twists that forced him to continually put a lot of people up, and of course he had his own issues, but it was a very hectic week. This week, we haven't seen that kind, but just the idea that we have two alliances that are so equally balanced, 7 people on one, 8 on another. They're fighting for 1 or 2 people. Luke, who everyone is making fun of as having no clue how this game operates, that he's just there for a summer, just hanging out or something. And yet Luke, because he suddenly is a key vote in terms of the balance of power between these two big alliances, he's getting courted like he's Cinderella at the ball. Everyone's talking to him. He realizes that he's having one-on-ones like he's the HOH, and I love it. I didn't have during my season the balance of alliances. We had the one big Grateful Eight, undeniable, whatever they call themselves. We had them, and then we had a lot of other folks on the other side that just couldn't make it work with banishments and all. It can't come back and all of that. But we've got it this year. Now it may change. We may see 2 or 3 people in a row go home from one side or the other. I hope not though. Y'all, for those of you who watch the show for a while, you know what I've always said is that I don't want anyone in that house to ever feel comfortable. I want every week people to be nervous and worried that it could be their turn up. I think we're going to get that this week or this season. So far, yeah, it's looking good. There's a lot going on. All right, Mark Taylor, who's your early season favorite, and which girl is going home this week? All right, well, which girl is going home this week? It's got to be Kirsten, right? I mean, she seems like she is a house target. It is unfortunate because every season, one person, they just eventually people settle on a person because no one wants blood on their hands. No one wants to stand out from everyone else. And once you find, I don't know, it's like a bunch of sharks or a bunch of lions in the savannah. They find that one weak person. Maybe it's that person's fault, maybe not, but they all go after the same gazelle. Well, I think Kirsten is our gazelle this year. She probably played a little too hard in the beginning. She had the first alliance, what is that called? Phalanx 5. I'm glad that alliance is gone, but she had the Phalanx 5 that developed like 15 minutes in there, and while they're at 15 minutes after getting in the house. Then she ended up getting in this alliance with Sari and Izzy and Felicia. They found out, and then they held it against her. You know what? Kirsten is not the only person that's played Big Brother that agreed to more than one alliance. So I don't know that it was necessarily her fault, but it doesn't matter. People are just looking for an excuse. And unfortunately, she's the excuse. Now, and I'll get to the first part of that question, my favorite as well. I mentioned on my little recap this morning, Kirsten's going home. I don't think that's going to change. For those of you who don't know, talking about spoilers, they did have the veto ceremony today. Sam, who had won the veto, did not use the veto, is what I've heard. So as a result, it's going to stay Felicia and Kirsten on the block. Kirsten's got to go home. But there's something to be said. If you're on the other side, if you're all part of Riley's alliance, they call them the Handful, the extended family, they got several names. But if you were part of that group, wouldn't it make a little sense to go ahead and maybe target Felicia, since she's one of the key people in the alliance on the other side of the house? The Bye-Bye Bitches is the name. But then I saw a thing today that now there's the Brown Sugar Babies, which is the other side of the house as well. And they've got the Professors, where they've gone in and added Red as well. There's a lot of alliance names right now. But wouldn't it make sense to maybe go after Felicia while you have the chance and knock that side's number down by 1 if it's truly going to be this battle between the two sides and numbers and all of that? Jag, I think, is the one who would propose that to Riley. Said, think about it. Riley didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I don't disagree with her. She said, if I do that, we would have to, the other side would get so mad at me. It'd be suicide. I'd be gone the next week. Well, she may not understand it or realize that there's a lot of people on the other side already planning on Riley potentially going home next week. She is a number one target. I keep hearing Riley and Jag and Blue, and a lot of names thrown out there. But so I don't know. There's something said, but she didn't want to do that. She also said that she has a special relationship with Felicia and Suri, and so as a result, she thinks that she called it kind of a secret alliance. So she thinks that she can work with them, so she didn't want to get rid of them. I get all of that. I'm not saying it's a wrong decision, but if you wanted to make a big move this week, get out Felicia. It's not going to happen. Kirsten's going home. All right. Another question is, who is my favorite going in? My favorite going in was Jag. I'm very excited to see Jag. And he's played a great game so far. Now people are paying attention to him on the other side as well. Someone said last night, I think, they feel like Jag is the linchpin that brings a lot of people together on the other side, that if they can get rid of Jag, that the others may start falling apart. So he certainly has some focus as well. But I feel like Jag is playing a pretty good game. He declared a ride or die with Riley, and then she wins HOH. That's always a decent way to start the game, right? So, yeah, I think Jags was certainly my favorite. There's nothing he's done so far that makes me think that he's not still my favorite and that he's not going to do well in this game. All right. Patty Bell saying, who is your top 3 and 3 least favorites? Oh, you're going to get me in trouble, aren't you? It depends. Are you talking about favorites? And I always say this. Favorites in terms of who I'm really cheering for, or favorites in terms of maybe who I think are playing the best game. Maybe I'll give you a little bit of both. Jag is a favorite for playing a great game and just someone I'm cheering on. Felicia, I said going in, I was going to cheer for her being the oldest person in the house, and that hadn't changed. I want her to do well, and she's actually playing a better game than I thought maybe she would. I wasn't sure what to expect from her, but she didn't come in there and just sit back and let things happen around her. She's taking an active role. Now, there's a few things that she's done. At one point, she said that she was going to maybe call out the other side and ask everyone what the name of their alliance is and basically make them aware that she knows that they're all in this alliance together. Why? You're on the block. Why in the world do you want to do something like that and maybe get the other side uncomfortable or think that she's digging too deep or whatever? Felicia just needs to chill and stay away from toilets and hot tubs. I don't know if y'all heard that, but they opened up the backyard after the veto competition inside the Big Brother house. The backyard is typically shut down from Tuesday morning or so, excuse me, until late Saturday night. And it's because they're building the sets for the HOH and then the set for the veto. Well, they finally opened it Saturday night. I don't think Felicia had been outside for more than about 15 seconds, and she fell in the hot tub. She submerged her microphone, which is a big no-no. I mean, it's not her fault, so she won't be in trouble for it. But production always tells us that be careful of these microphones. If they get wet, immediately tell us, go switch it out for a new one. We can fix it as long as you don't wait too long. But then I found out not only did she fall in the hot tub, apparently she has dropped 4 different microphones into the toilet as well. So she's on microphone number 4 or 5. I don't know. And here's something else that y'all don't know. A little insider scoop. When we have those microphone packs on, you wear them except when you sleep. And even while you're sleeping, if you wake up and talk to someone, you're expected to put it on. But every morning we have to go change our battery packs out, right? So they have a fresh battery. These things last 24 hours or so. So we go into the storage room. We switch out our batteries as soon as they wake us up in the morning. If you ever have an issue with your microphone, they always have an extra couple of microphones that are in the storage room. And you can say something, you'll get directed to go in, switch out microphones while they fix your existing one. There's probably a lot of people working on these sounds and audio and everything in there. So they have that. I can only imagine whoever does that work on a season-to-season basis, it's being kept overtime for Felicia. Felicia may be keeping a couple of people busy. But anyway, so those are my 2 big favorites. Who else? I like Riley. I love to see that duo ride or die form. I feel like Riley is too open with her information. She's friendly enough to the point that she's giving too much away. Riley has become, it's obvious that she's the type of person who wants to work with others, who wants other people to like her. And the way that she develops trust and relationships with other people is by giving information. I bet she does it the same way in real life as well, that she's one of those that tries to help you out, give you new info and all that. but she's telling everyone way too much information about who her connections are, who she's tightest with, and all of that. So yeah, a little uncomfortable with that. Uh, so those are the three. There's a lot more that I really like, but I'll just leave it that Suri. Suri's a master. I really wondered how the game of Survivor would transition into Big Brother. Well, here's the thing. It's her social game. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's still going to take a while for her to figure out some of the technical fine points about when you backdoor, when you don't, and things like that. But she's obviously on the right path. The main thing is, even the people on the other side feel like they like her. I think she's calling the shots, but she's kind of let Izzy take over in some ways that side of the house, which is perfect. She still kind of calls the shots, but Izzy's got the bigger target on her back because everyone thinks that Izzy's the one behind it all. Suri just takes a step or two back. Wouldn't you get at her the quickest you possibly could if you're on the other side, knowing what a strong player she is in reality TV? So far, they're willing to kind of let her slide. So I don't know. Least favorites, and I'm going to base this not on personality or anything else, but just strictly on gameplay or lack thereof. Jared has to be careful. He's playing a spy role, which is great, but there for a while, I think he's gotten better. I think he got some coaching from Suri. But there for a while, he was probably going back and forth, talking too much and giving too much information. There's a lot of people doing that. Who else? I don't. Cameron, America, Mimi, Nicole. They all have not. Well, I'm going to take that back on Cameron because he started playing more. Some of the others, America and Nicole, for example, I don't feel like they're playing much of a game at all right now, which isn't a bad strategy. I'm not saying they're wrong. They're very much staying underneath the radar. That's probably going to get them farther into the game. It's not a bad idea. But from a viewership standpoint, I kind of, I don't want to see. I want to see the people aggressively playing the game. They're not. And so I'll call them a least favorite just because I don't see them interacting and controlling much of anything at this point in time. Of course, when you've got one alliance of 7, another alliance of 8, everyone controls a little bit, right? Because it could just take one vote. Are we going to have hinky votes this year? One person casting a hinky vote like Jared could screw everything up. The other side's going to think they've got the votes. Jared's going to end up voting alongside his mom, not tell a soul, and there could be all kinds of chaos taking place, which I'm waiting for and hoping for. It's great so far. All right. Brian Hosteller saying, here's a twist. No one goes home and they add an 18th house guest. Yeah, I mean, they've got 18 beds in this house, right? They could do it. I don't know. I guess it depends on who that 18th house guest is. I don't think it's going to be just some random person. If it's an 18th house guest, I don't know. They got someone from Survivor. Would they bring someone in from, I don't know, Love Island, tough as nails or something? I could be. Now, if no one goes home this week, I don't know how that would work because then you've got 17 people. If you add another person in, suddenly you've got 2 groups of 9. I don't know. Here's a kicker. What if you at that point then said, all right, y'all are 2 different teams. Like, what if they forced one group to go live out in the backyard, depending on who loses HOH or something? And they have to go live in the backyard for a week. The other side's indoors. And what if it isn't along alliance lines? What if half the alliance of the bye-bye bitches is outside, half are inside, and the same with the other side? Really stir it up. Or even this. Force them to do food luxury type competitions, but don't break them up by the alliance. Make them some kind of random pick. So suddenly, maybe Felicia and Suri and Izzy are on different teams, and do you fight hard and you get the fancy stuff, and your teammates have to sleep outside? I don't know, but yeah, that's interesting. Who knows this season? There's so many twists with this multiverse. They could do that, and yeah, we'll see. I gotta say, I don't mind having a 17th house guest. I don't mind having Suri as the 17th house guest. I don't think, although I kind of hate to see one person's kind of special compared to everyone else, just because, I don't know, it doesn't always represent an equal playing field. What I really don't like this season is the fact that Suri and Jared have this mother-son relationship that no one else except Izzy, but potentially no one would know about. I went through that on my season. I did not like that there were people who knew each other in the real world that had connections, that had loyalties to each other that I wasn't aware of. I think that kind of stacked the deck against me and helped them a little bit. I think it's the same way with Jared and Sari. They've got support with each other that no one else in that house has. And so I don't think that's equal playing field, but whatever. Expect the unexpected, right? All right. Roe is saying, do you think Kirsten will actually get evicted, or will there be a twist and she goes to the nether region where Corey was sent? The nether region. Those characters, the writers. There may be a writer strike, but apparently there's still someone writing the little puns and punchlines back behind the mirrors anyway. I don't know how the writer strike works. I don't think it impacts reality TV, but anyway, yeah, I don't think she's actually going home. And Corey actually mentioned, I'm amazed that production let Corey say this. He made a little mention at one point saying, yeah, I think the next 4 people, or he did say 4. I think people are going to go to the nether region once there's a certain number of them. Maybe somehow they'll fight, they'll come back in. I think they're right. I think this is some pre-jury battle back. Jake the Horror Movie Geek is saying, do you think there is a possibility of a battle back conflict? Yeah, well, what a lead in. Yeah, 100 days, 17 house guests, 18 house guests, maybe, but yeah, with 100 days, I think you've got to have a battle back. And I think they set it up with this nether region and Corey saying something when he came back about his message about they weren't done or something like that. Yeah, I think probably the first 4, maybe 5. I mean, you could have it go all the way up to where they get to jury point, I suppose. But yeah, I think that'll be the initial battle back. You could have this season. Maybe you have more than one battle back. Maybe you have a second battle back of the post jury members. And then to make sure that you have, it all works out days and all that. Maybe you have 2 separate times where someone battles back into the house, and instead of a double eviction, you have a triple eviction, and do something like that. It could happen. I mean, they're supposed to be doing everything unique this season and all that. So yeah, I can see it. So I don't know. Now they've had 2 battle backs before, right? Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like during Victor's season, there were 2 battle backs, and I feel like he won them both. And I say that because I think I'm tied with Victor for how many times you fought and got back into the house. I mean, mine was 1 battle back and then the banishment on day number 1, but I think they've had 2 battle backs before. I don't mind post-jury battle backs as long as they do it quick. I do think that it's kind of unfair when you get someone who goes out as the first juror, and if they compete, they missed out on like 3 weeks of stuff, and then suddenly they come back in because they won the battle back. Well, that's a lot of gameplay that they were basically safe because they weren't competing, getting blood on their hands and everything else. So I'm not as big a fan on the post-jury battle backs as I am the pre-jury battle backs, but if they want to do it to stir things up, bring it on. Let's go. All right. Lois Cobb saying, who is the best celebrity Big Brother player, and will they be back soon? Yeah, I'll tell you who my favorite is. And it wasn't anyone from last season of Celebrity Big Brother. I really like Tom Green. I was a huge Tom Green fan before he ever went on Celebrity Big Brother. I used to love his show on MTV. He was hilarious in the house. I would love to see him come back. I don't think and Meta World Peace was hilarious because he just didn't always really understand what was happening, it feels like. Lamar Odom I feel like Lamar had a heart of gold. He didn't necessarily understand the game either. So there's a lot of these celebrity folks that I enjoyed watching play the game. I don't think any of them come back. I just don't see it. Who would I want to see, though, coming into Celebrity Big Brother? Neil Patrick Harris would be great. I met Vanilla Ice a month or so ago. I tried to talk him into coming back into the house, and he said, yeah, I did Surreal Life, which was something similar. And I don't think I want to have those cameras on me again. So that didn't work out. I tried as a Big Brother, but I don't know. I'm just curious, are we going to have a Celebrity Big Brother? We'll see what happens with writer strikes and all of that. All right. Patricia Miller. Sorry, guys. We're kind of set up differently, because of the situation, but I'm trying to keep up with all comments on. Patricia Miller saying, I think Red is playing good. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Red spent the first few days of a little bit of an unknown. I thought he was going to be an over-the-top character, and he is. But from a strategy standpoint, I think he had a decent idea. He he kind of sat back and watched everything form around him, and only very recently kind of declared loyalty, and it was to the Bye Bye Bitches. With him added to it, it's called the Professors. But yeah, so he's over on Cerie, Felicia, and Izzy's side. At least I think he is, and people are giving him information on all that. But it'd be easy for Red at some point in time if things don't go there his way, or it just seems like there's more opportunities. He could flip. So I think people have to be very careful about the kind of information they give Red. There was a big kind of scandal because I think Red had talked to Cameron, if I believe, and had more or less called out all the members of the alliance on the other side. Cameron came back and I think talked to Riley, and it sounded almost like Red had said who was all on the other side of the other alliance. It's not that. It's just that it's very obvious. If you're not with us, you're against us kind of situation. And so it's kind of, I guess, intuitive. Cameron knew who wasn't with them and therefore who was on the other side. So I don't think Red really spilled the beans. He may have given a little bit more information about the fact that Cerie and Felicia and Izzy were kind of the inner core and all of that. But yeah, I think we've got Jared in that house who's kind of a double agent. They think that he's with Riley's side of the house, but really he's with Cerie, mother, son. Of course he is, but they don't know that. So he's kind of a double agent, revealing all kinds of information from the other side. I could see Red doing the same thing, getting all the information from Cerie's side and taking it back over to the other group. He hadn't done it yet, but we'll see if it happens. He could certainly be our, would you call that a floater? I don't know, or maybe a flip flopper. And that's not a bad thing. I don't have any problem with that. You make the deals that you've got to make to survive. And I certainly did that once or twice in my season as well. But yeah, I'm really curious to see. I knew Red was going to probably be a funny guy, but I wasn't sure where, from a strategy standpoint, he was. I think he's doing all right so far. So most of these house guests are. A few of them aren't playing hard yet, as I mentioned, but I think they're all playing pretty good. All right, Logan Hamburg saying, what are your thoughts on Luke's game so far? How long do you think playing dumb will get him? Excuse me. Yeah, Luke is, well, let me say this first of all. I think playing dumb is a good way to describe it. I think Luke is much smarter than he is letting on. I think people are falling for his dumb bro kind of attitude and all of that. But yeah, he was kind of, it's been rough because he's been talked about as target number 2. Once Kirsten goes home, there's a lot of people that want Luke gone. They don't trust him. They think that he's unreliable because he doesn't understand the game. There's a lot of things like that. But here's the beauty. Because these two sides have been fighting so hard to get these last few people on their side or the other side, suddenly people are saying, oh, maybe we need to get Luke as well. Cerie and Izzy and Felicia had grabbed Red to bring their numbers up. And then they start thinking, well, maybe we need to get Corey and Luke as well so we can get up to 9. Corey is on Riley's side, but it seems like maybe he'd be willing to make a move. We're still yet to be seen, I suppose. But yeah, Luke, because the numbers are so tight, everyone's courting Luke. He was today having a bunch of one-on-ones, talking to all these people, explaining that he's not really dumb and all of that. And really kind of, I don't know, taking control of the situation to some degree. I'm interested to see how Luke does. I don't know yet. He's a bit of an unknown, I think, so far. But he's in an interesting position because everything is so tight numbers wise right now. All right. Patty Bell saying, do you like Izzy and the way she's playing? I don't have anything personally opposed to Izzy. I mean, she's out there representing not just herself, but her community and everything else. And that's fine. I don't have any issue with that. But I want people to play a good game and not just be in there just because they're representing, right? Well, she's doing both. I think is she playing a good game? I think she's a little too energetic. We'll just put it like that. She reminds me a little bit of Frenchie during his first game, where I really feel like Izzy just needs to stop, take a breath, and remember that this is a 100-day long season. Not everything has to be solved. You don't have to conquer the world on the first week, the first month even. And I feel like she's in some ways doing that. She is, but part of it, I know she sat there for a couple of weeks in sequester. She had all these plans about what she wanted to do. She gets in the house. She sees Jared and Sari together. She knows, like no one else does, that they're mother's son. She takes that information to, I was going to say build an alliance, maybe not build, maybe force an alliance, right? Because she has that information. But suddenly she feels like she's in a good place. She's got Sari, who she talked about stalking Sari's social media accounts and everything. So obviously she's a huge fan. Suddenly now she is working tight with Sari. I think to some degree Izzy is a little blinded by working with her. When she's talking about that she wants a final two with Sari and is believing Sari when Sari says that she wants a final two with Izzy, both of them knowing that Jared is in there as Sari's son. If it came down to, and Izzy has said that her dream is to get to final three with Sari and Jared. If it gets down to final three and either Jared or Sari is making the choice on who to take to final two, are they taking Izzy? Oh, well, no, of course they aren't. There's no way in the world. So I think Izzy, and maybe she does understand that. Maybe she's just talking because she's saying what needs to be heard, right? But I feel like Izzy maybe is trying to do a little too much. She's reached out to grab Corey to bring him into the fold. She's running from room to room and doing a lot of conversations. You know who she reminds me of? I mentioned Frenchie. I also feel like Izzy is a little bit like Brittany was last season, where Brittany at one point in time just couldn't settle down. She was so busy going here and there and talking to people and suggesting and proposing that in some ways I think she turned off a few people because of that. Now, in some ways she got lucky because you maybe didn't have quite the tight numbers that you've got now. So I don't know, but I will say this from the other side, when they're talking about who they may target if they win the next HOH, I'm hearing Izzy a whole lot more than I'm hearing Sari or Felicia. So that tells me that she's maybe exposed herself more than maybe she should have. So on a personal level, I like Izzy. I respect that she's representing not just herself, but her community and all that. And I think she's doing well, but she maybe needs to slow down just a little bit. We'll see. If she makes it to the end, as much work as she's doing now, she probably deserves the title. But I think it may be hard to get to the end because everyone's aware of her. All right. Alex Hill saying, a great Big Brother cast. I agree. Most excited I've been in years. Even just for the episodes. Yeah, I agree. They did a great job. There's no one in this house that I dislike. Right now, some I think are playing better than others, but no one I dislike. Now, sometimes you have to have the villain, and we're gonna have villains, right? You've got to have a villain, but no, I think they've done a fantastic job with the casting. Having said that, I think there's some very cocky people in that house. I listened this morning to Riley and Jag talking up in the HOH room, and Riley was saying, we're just, as long as we have the numbers, they may not want to do what we want them to do, but they have no choice. As long as we got the numbers, they'll do what we need to take care of business. Riley also saying we're going to go down in history as the first final two that also went to a final 4, 6, 8 within the first 3 days, and we're going to go down in history because of what we've already done so far. So slow it down a little bit there. I think you're not quite there yet, Riley. And then on the other hand, the other side, we had Izzy talking about saying some things like, oh, we're going to take these youngsters to school and, we're going to teach them a thing or two and all that. No, neither side is in a position of power where they ought to just assume things get easy from this point on. It is not a strategy to say, all right, we're going to get a group that's the majority vote and we'll just vote everyone else out. Big Brother's a lot more than that. If it was that easy, everyone would win at the end, and we know that doesn't happen. You may have that success for a week or two. The people at the low end, at the bottom, they're going to start recognizing what's going on. You'll flip and all that. Yeah, they're a little arrogant. They're going to learn as they go forward. All right, Tommy Braskett saying, hey, Tommy, saying Sari is masterminding and running one side. I agree. And not only is she masterminding and running that side, but she's doing it while still maintaining decent relationships with the other side and while making sure that there's other people who are bigger targets than Sari. How does she do it? I loved her on Survivor. I loved her on Traders. I know she is amazing. It's little things. I think Sari is very empathetic to other people. She understands what other languages people speak, and I'm talking like body language. Who She just naturally knows who needs to be complimented, who needs to for either for what a great game they're playing, things like that. Who needs to be complimented? Who maybe needs to have more of a stern talking to, mama role to one of the other people or something. I just feel like she understands what makes different people tick. And because of that, she's able to get them all on board. I think her background is a nurse, right? So maybe she spent enough time working with a lot of people under stressful conditions that she just gets them. I love watching her play. How would you like to go into that house thinking, like Red, thinking, oh man, I'm kind of the character. Even if I don't win this, I ought to have a good chance for America's favorite player. Well, maybe not so much, Red, while you got Sari in that house as well, because she's lighting it up. I love her game. I think she's doing fantastic. All right, JD Glad saying, I can see Luke doing doing hinky votes. He may not even know he's doing hinky votes. He is a wild card. Yeah, I agree. I think he's the kind that may stir things up just to stir things up. He reminds me a little bit, and I don't know. Maybe it's Valor or not. Y'all tell me. He just reminds me a little bit like Brett. Just kind of in there. Yeah, he's playing hard. Is he? I don't know. He's in there playing the game, but I just feel like he's just kind of in there to have fun as well and to see what happens and to see where he can make things happen. So yeah, he may cast a hinky vote and not even know it until after someone starts wondering about it, which would be amazing. I mean, think of it this way. There's people who know, and here's the other thing: too many people have opened their mouth. They know who's on the other side, and vice versa. What if Luke has the hinky vote at some point over the next few weeks that goes completely against his side, whatever side that might end up being, so that no one thinks that that he would be the person to cast a vote, and that hinky vote gets blamed on Red or Jared, and someone gets exposed, whether they're actually guilty or not. In the end, it's all up to Luke, and no one ever thinks it because it would make zero sense. And suddenly now someone's thrown under a bus, someone else is fighting for their life in the house, and he's just sitting back watching the fireworks. And if he does that, what if at the very end we get Luke at a final 2 or final 3? He'll be like Victoria from 16, where everyone kept her because she was such a non-factor, right? What if Luke makes it to the very end and then stands up and says, yeah, it was just all night, guys. I knew everything that's going on from start to finish. I controlled everything, and y'all never thought of me as a threat. And so everything worked perfectly. I'd give him the money right then and there if he did that. All right, Ma saying, hey, Ma, how are you doing? America, what a name, right? America, McCole, or Mimi, as they're saying. I haven't figured out which I'm going to use going forward. America, McCole, and Red, whoever else are playing decent games by doing nothing until pre-jury and start steamrolling with an alliance. That's how KC did it. Yeah, I agree. Now, KC also won a lot of competitions at the end to stay alive and to stay in that game, and that did it for her. I don't think it's not a valid strategy, but you've got to have a decent feel about when do you stay low and keep yourself as a non-threat. But at some point in the game, you have to then exert yourself and take over the game, because if not, you're going to make it to the final 2, and people are going to say, what did you do? What did you do to deserve the money? Because you're going to be up against someone at the end that's arguing their case as well. So you've got to have something to put on your resume. And we see it on Survivor so much now. So many people are making moves in that game for past recent seasons where it may or may not make sense for their individual game, but their justification is always, well, it would look good on my resume. It's good on my resume. You got to have the same thing to some degree with Big Brother as well. You sit back, stay underneath the radar, but you still have to make some moves. Look at my season, sis, in our house. She didn't really, she didn't, she kept the blood off her hands because she didn't win squat while she was in there, right? And so she was somewhat protected because of that. No one saw her as a huge threat. She lasted for quite a while. But if she'd made it to the final two, was anyone going to vote for sis to win Big Brother over whoever else she was up against? Probably not, because she never was able to grab control of the game and do things to push her own game forward. And so, yeah, you got to be careful that you don't do that the whole season. You got to determine when you're going to make it, pull that trigger and start taking control. But to start with, yeah, let things hash out. Let other people figure out where the alliances are and where you would benefit most. And then you can start doing some things. Yeah, I think they're doing what they need to do, I think. All right. Let me see what things got here. Lewis saying, I believe Izzy is going to tell Sari and Jared. Is going to tell Sari and Jared's secret. Maybe. And then here's a question for y'all. And I thought about this when I was watching that premiere episode back, or the live feeds a little bit later. She immediately told Jared that, hey, I know you're Sari Fields' son. You're Jared Fields. I know your secret. Was that the right thing to do? On the one hand, it immediately forced an alliance with the three of them that seems like it's working to her advantage. But there's something to be said as well for maybe keeping your mouth shut, seeing how things fall out. And you can always, if you ended up working together, great. If you didn't work together, well, now you got a big bomb that you can drop on the other side to blow things up. That's going to get you a lot of stuff. Even to the point, if you didn't say a word, you saw the two of them advancing quite a ways into the game. When you did have to make a big shot, take a big shot, you could mention it to them then and catch them off guard, because I figure halfway through the season, if no one said anything, they may think they got away with it. Now, I can't help but think that Sari and Jared have already, at least Sari, maybe not Jared so much, but I'm sure Sari has already thought of what she's going to say and how she's going to spin her side if Izzy at some point does reveal a secret and tell everyone else. And so I think she has a warning because of it. The other thing, if I'm Sari and Jared, dead men tell no tales, right? If you get rid of Izzy before she has a chance to spill the beans to anyone else, then suddenly your secret's protected. So it's a little bit like a mobster or a gangster or something like that. If you get rid of all the witnesses, it's a lot harder for you to get caught. And so I feel like Izzy's playing with fire, being the only person that knows that secret, because as long as Sari and Jared feel like it benefits their game, they'll play along with Izzy. They'll make her think that she's the tightest, that they absolutely want to take her to the very end. That might not be the case. They may just be biding their time and they'll cut her loose before she gets a chance to reveal a secret. I don't know. And here's the other thing. If she waits too long and she spills the beans, are people going to hold it against her? Are there going to be people that are going to say, you knew since day one and you waited till day 50 before you said anything? We maybe could have done this or that. I don't know. I just think you're playing with fire when you keep that too long. But having said that, as I always say, there's way too many people with open, big old mouths right now. Don't give out. I would not spill the beans to anyone else. The question is whether I would have told Sari and Jared even. I probably would have waited just a little bit longer just to see how they were going to play the game. And then you could respond and see how it worked out for you. But on the other hand, she's tight with those two now. So who am I to argue? She's got it going on until she doesn't. All right. What do we have on here? Let's see. RC Ritter FPV. Is there another kind of legend hidden in there? Maybe. I'd love to see Brittany in there. I don't think it's going to be Brittany, though, because I just saw a post from her on one of the social media platforms. I guess she's got I guess she does real estate. She's got a whole new company with new name, Brittany Goodwin. I don't know what her last name is right now, but I saw her making some posts. So I have a feeling not. I don't want it to be Frankie Grande, and nothing against him. I just would, I don't want him in the house. I don't know. I think there's other people who deserve to be there more. Could there be another legend hiding in the house? I don't know. But Bring out Johnny Mac or something. Someone that we're not expecting. Popping out of that moldy cheese and a have not room or something. I don't. You could get Brittany popping up out of that hot dog. She lost her dignity to a slippery wiener and all that. That could be. They're going to keep us on our toes, I'm sure. Jason is saying Ozzy. Ozzy Osbourne or Ozzy from Survivor? Don't know. Ozzy Osbourne would be interesting. Don't know how well he's doing nowadays. He seems to have a few struggles and all that. But Ozzy from Survivor, no, that could be interesting as well. Ozzy is a man of very many talents, right? Not all on reality TV, apparently, based on some of the stuff I heard. But I met him once. Very nice guy. A lot of people want to talk to Ozzy. So, yeah, bring him in. Bring in Russell Hantz. His brother, or not his brother, his nephew, didn't necessarily do so well in the game of Big Brother. Bring in Russell. He'll stir things up. He'll call people out. That would be not fun, but it would be interesting. I'm not being serious. Not really. But if he wants to come in, bring him in. All right. Elise Silva saying, throwback and off topic. Did you, Nicole, Holly, and Jackson have an alliance name? No, we never did. I did not want an alliance name. At some point, someone, I think Tommy, accused us of calling ourselves the Southerners. At which point Holly said, I don't even live in the South. And he said, it doesn't matter. Y'all are like the Southern, type people and all of that, the cowboy type mentality and all that. So y'all are the Southerners. I don't remember ever agreeing to that name. I remember one, and I told Tommy this. I said, we never had a name like that. No, it's at one point someone in our group had said something like, oh, we're kind of all, from the South and all of that. But we never had a name. I don't like it. I just feel like as soon as you call yourself something, it becomes more real. It becomes something that people can hang their hat on or go against, right? Once you have a name that comes out into the real world, it gets on people's lips. People ask about it and all that. We never had a name. I didn't want a name. I did not want Cliff's Angels to have a name either. And Kat insisted, and Nicole and Jessica thought it was cute. So whatever. But no, I'd already gotten burned with Nicole and Ovi and I with our Fellowship of the Zing, which I still thought was a fantastic name. But we had that name, and because of my loud mouth, I immediately got to the other side and all of that. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of alliance names, so we never did. They didn't talk about it. I certainly never pushed it. Now, a little secret, I'm sure most of y'all would assume this or realize it. Production likes to have these names. I think it helps viewers who are not necessarily watching all live feeds, the more casual viewer. It helps them keep track of it. They like having the cutie names and all of that as well. So production really pushes people to come up with names. You'll get in the diary room. They'll say, do y'all have a name for your alliance? What are you going to call yourselves? Are you going to come up with a name? When are you going to talk to them about it? They'll ask a lot of those kind of questions and make it clear that, yeah, it'd be really great if you had a name. I'm pretty sure they did that for Ovi when it was Ovi, Nicole, and I, because suddenly we hadn't really talked about names. We just said, we're going to work together, the three of us, all the way. And next thing I know, Ovi's coming out of his diary room saying, guys, we need a name. We need a name. So, yeah. But no, Holly, Nicole, Mickey, and myself, no alliance names, exactly the way I wanted it. All right. Let's see what else we've got on here. Tommy's saying, don't like the way Cersei is going about pushing people to join her side. I don't know. However it works. I know she talked to like Corey. I was saying, Corey, you're just a number over there on the other side, right? You're expendable. They're not going to keep you. She's not wrong, but they're not going to keep you on this side either, Corey. Yeah, unfortunately, you're expendable for everyone, and you better make sure you keep on identifying bigger targets in yourself or making people think that there's bigger threats against them to make it happen. Sorry, I don't know. I don't have huge issues with the way she's doing it. Is she strong arming a little bit? Yeah, maybe sometimes. And she's also throwing out some ideas on why and all of that. At the end of the day, do what you have to do. Hopefully the people that are talking to her understand that she has ulterior motives. No one's in there being nice just for the sake of, well, you can be nice just for the sake of being nice. But when you're talking about bringing people on and into your alliance and all of that, it's probably because there's a motivation and there's a good reason that you want it to happen. So hopefully the people that are being talked to understand that Cerie's objectives probably don't align with mine because if I'm Luke, for example, I don't think Cerie went into this season thinking, that guy Luke, I'm going to try to help him win Big Brother. Now, different goals. You have to be aware of it. If you aren't, and you let Cerie talk you into something that hurts your game, that's kind of on you. So, I'm okay with it. At this point in time, as long as you don't do anything absolutely personal attacks and things like that, then all fair in love and war and poker and all that, right? All right. Lois is saying they're stuck with Izzy unless everyone else votes her out. She said she has power over Cersei and Sun. She might get a little power hungry, a little, and make reckless, cocky moves. Yeah, absolutely. I think she's beyond that point. Yeah, again, I think she needs to just chill a little bit and let some other people do some things. But no, I think she's power hungry because things have seemed to go her way so far. And you're right. I don't think Cirie and Jared they have to be careful because if they go after her and it gets back that they were somehow behind it at all, Izzy's going to blow up their game, right? That'd be my threat, man. You put me out that door, I'm going to be hollering your name from here to kingdom come. That y'all know each other, that y'all are mother son. That would be the ultimate final threat if you thought something was happening. So if Cirie and Jared are going to try to get her out, it's got to be on the back of someone else. And they have to be in a position where they can appear to be fighting for her every step of the way. Because I also think if they did it just right, so it did not look like they were responsible, Izzy would be probably one of the biggest fans of Cirie going into the jury and all of that. If she makes it to jury, God, she'll vote for Cirie in a heartbeat if she doesn't think that Cirie is responsible for what. She may do it even if she may even say, Cirie burned me. If she can burn me, then she deserves the money. So Cirie probably would be beneficial to get Izzy to at least jury before she tries anything else, because it seems like that's a pretty good strong vote for her. All right, Skylar, and it isn't too early to think about jury votes. I mean, that can't be your primary focus right now, but you always kind of have to keep that in the back of mind as well. Skylar Houston saying, who would you like to see win POV, Power Veto? It depends. We know who won it this week, all right? And so if you don't know, just for a few minutes or so. But Haitham won it this week and didn't use it. Who would I like to see win POV? What happens if Jared wins POV? Regardless of who's on the block. If someone from Cerie's alliance is on the block and he wins POV, will ride the handful, the extended family, the other side of the house, they're not going to want him to necessarily change it. Or if they do, they're going to want him to use the veto on one of their people. And he's going to get torn both ways. The other way around. If Cerie's on the block, or if the other side's on the block, they're going to want him to use it. If Cerie's on the block, they're not going to want him to, but obviously, Cirie will expect him to. If I'm Jared, I'm not coming anywhere close to winning anything for the next couple of weeks because nothing good about it. Who else would be fun? Corey. Corey would be very interesting because I feel like he doesn't feel he's trying so hard. It's got to be hard. It's hard as a 53-year-old guy in that house to play the game. I almost feel like it could be just as hard this season to be 21 years old and playing the game because he is so much younger than anyone else. Just because this cast trended upwards in age a little bit, it's got to be hard for him to get respect from anyone. He's trying, but he's just not getting it. If he wins a POV, suddenly he's got power. People are coming to him begging and pleading, and I'd be curious to see what he did with it as well. Luke would be another one. Luke's going to win a POV and probably say, so when do I get to make my nominations or something? I don't know. He'll play it up as he seems like he's doing. So I don't know. It'd be fun. It'd be a lot of fun. All right. So quick. I knew this hour was going to go fast, but it's all right. Jonah Muhammad saying, I'm I mean, has to be other folks entering. That's why the memory wall has not been shown. I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you, because I'd forgotten about that. I did see a blurb saying the memory wall still has not lit up yet. So could that mean that there's someone else coming in? Yeah, I mean, who am I to say? But here's something else. That memory wall is set up for an 8 by for a 4 by 4 grid, right? It's actually two different LED boards or whatever. So 8 people on one side, 8 people on the other side. Y'all don't know it, but I looked behind that board a few times while I was in that house. I got hollered at a few times for touching cords I shouldn't have touched, but I'd look behind it. It's so janky behind those boards. It's just wiring everywhere and all of that. But yeah, I looked behind it and checked it out. Maybe the memory board hadn't lit up just because those monitors aren't set up to have 17 pictures in it. That's probably not the case, because during the nominations, they can put 2 big pictures and all on that. So I would think they could do more, but maybe just the aesthetics of 9 on one side or 8, 9 on one side, 8 on the other doesn't look good or whatever. Maybe as soon as someone gets voted out, Kirsten gets voted out, next thing you know, the memory wall now has 8 and 8, and that'd be tough. Not only you get voted out, but you don't even get to see your picture up there on the memory wall ever. I don't want that to happen. I feel bad for Kirsten. I feel bad for anyone who's the first boot out of the game, because I know Kirsten has, and she's a Houston girl, right? I was cheering for her just for that too. But I know she had so many dreams and expectations, and they're all out the window. I think maybe she'll surprise us. She's been trying hard. Felicia talked about the fact that she got a little upset because I guess Kirsten maybe had said something about her. I don't know. They're trying to campaign a little bit. And Felicia was upset and said, I don't want to campaign against Kirsten. Man, you better be campaigning. Both of them better. You can't hold it against Kirsten if she's saying anything about you, Felicia, because she's trying to survive. And it is absolutely a fight for survival. So I don't know that I'd hold it against her, but Felicia didn't respect or didn't appreciate that anything at all was said about her. Part of the game. I never held it against anyone who campaigned against me because I campaigned against them. I made that mistake. I did not campaign against Nicole because I thought it was so certain that she would go home before me, and I didn't want to because it didn't feel right to me. Well, I almost paid the price, right? I learned my lesson. I had no more after that. $7.59. I just feel like we're just now getting started, but that's the way it goes. It's summary. Yeah, it's a fantastic season. Props once again to the folks who cast these house guests, because they're fantastic. I think they got the right mix of really aggressive players that are just kind of floating, waiting to see what happens. People, just a lot of different variation, which I love every bit of. So, and a season with 2 alliances side by side, so equal in numbers, it's gonna be fun. I've had so much fun this week. The only person sitting out on the beach with my phone here watching live feeds all day long while everyone else is on catamarans and doing things like that. So, but I love it. I am all about Big Brother. I love Big Brother. All right, guys. With that, we're gonna shut down. All right. Ma says that she's gonna be in her dorm next week. Good. All right, Ma, I want to hear some stories as well. That's you're gonna have fun. You're gonna have a blast. Do the work, but you're gonna have a blast. All right. 7:59, we're going to shut it down. I mentioned at the very beginning, but I'm going to mention it again now. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. When you turn on your notifications, then you'll get updates every morning. I try to get those out the door as quick as I can, because I know there's folks on the East Coast that want to listen and watch on the way to work. They're already staying up so late, it makes it a little bit tough, but I'm doing the best I can. If you turn on notifications, once it drops, you'll get the immediate notification as well. So please consider doing that, and you can hit thumbs up while you're out there. All right, guys. Here's the final tip. You got any questions, send them to me, DM to me, and we'll talk just private. I love chatting Big Brother. All right, guys. With that, we're gonna shut down. SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love Big Brother, love all of y'all. Have a fantastic week, and get outside and enjoy the sunlight every once in a while, but enjoy the live feeds, and we'll be back next week. We'll talk all about what happened. Sure, it'll be every bit as exciting as this one. Guys, until then, have a great one. Cheers, my friends. Bye. Bye.